At the top of this hour, we're getting some breaking news, and this is on the mass shooting in Sydney. And we'll now show you the visuals, the full sequence of the attack, the mass shooting attack in which 16 people have been killed. These are the exclusive visuals you're watching on India Today. This is the moment of attack. This is when the two gunmen attacked the Jewish community which was celebrating the Hanukkah event at the Bondi Beach in Sydney. And as you can see in these visuals, the two gunmen, who's a father-son duo, and the 50-year-old father has already been killed. The 24-year-old son remains in critical condition in the hospital, and you can see how they opened fire at the people who were celebrating the Hanukkah event. They were at the pedestrian bridge.
Guys, come on! Come on, guys!
The visuals of the mass shooting in Sydney, you can see the two gunmen, the father-son duo, firing at the crowd that was celebrating the Hanukkah festival. Remember, Hanukkah festival is of great significance for the Jewish community, and 16 people have been killed. A 50-year-old gunman has also been killed, whereas his son, the other shooter, 24-year-old son, is in critical condition. He is in the hospital. As you can see, the duo started firing at the crowd from the pedestrian bridge, and then they moved further. You can also listen to the cries and screams of the crowd. There was complete chaos after the firing began, and these shooters, you can see in these visuals that India Today is showing you, the two shooters, one of them has moved further, and in these visuals only one can be seen, and it seems like so it's a father-son duo, and one of the shooters can be seen currently, and he is being seen firing at the crowd that was celebrating the Hanukkah festival. 16 people, remember, have been killed, whereas more than 40 have been injured in this firing. And now you can see in the visuals the father-son duo firing at the crowd in which 16 people have lost their lives. There's complete chaos. You can also listen to the screams and cries of the crowd after this shooting took place. And we're also being joined by a journalist from Sydney, Erin Molan, who himself belongs to the Jewish community. In fact, she belongs to the Jewish community. Erin, what would you like to say about this attack that has also been described as a targeted anti-Semitic attack, and what impact has it had on the people, the Jewish people particularly living in Sydney?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm so sorry, I have to correct you though. I'm actually not Jewish. I just stand with the Jewish community very proudly and very strongly, but I'm an Australian Catholic girl who can see right from wrong. So after October 7, I became a very loud voice in standing up for the Jewish community and against terrorism. And what we saw in Bondi last night, now it's about early afternoon the next day, was one of the most cowardly, horrific terrorist attacks I have seen, and I have covered this space as a journalist for a very long time. Two men stood on a bridge, and this is a bridge that looks down over a children's park and a big, flat, grassy kind of knoll ahead of the beach. And there was a Hanukkah celebration going on for the local Jewish community. And in Sydney, Bondi is home, probably the most Jews live in the eastern suburbs, so a big Jewish population here. They were celebrating Hanukkah, lighting candles, and these two gunmen just opened fire and shot and killed. At least 15 people so far have been killed. Over 40 are in hospital. I live in this area as well. I was on the balcony with my 7-year-old daughter, and we heard the gunshots and ran inside. Absolutely terrifying. But what I would say to you and your audience, and your country is very good in this space because you have experienced terrorism firsthand. You cannot be weak in the face of terrorism. You cannot be weak in the face of hate. And I look at our country and our government, and we have been so weak since October 7 in this space. We have allowed anti-Semitism and hate to really grow legs here and to go unchecked and to go unpunished. And this is the result. You know, this community is broken. They don't feel safe. They were already struggling with all the hate that's been aimed at them. This, a cowardly terrorist attack by two grown men with shotguns, who cowered behind concrete when they were under attack, but didn't allow their victims to look for shelter. They just shot them straight. They were defenseless. They had no way of helping themselves or anyone else. It was absolutely evil.
Right, Erin, do stay with us. We're showing our viewers the horrifying visuals of the mass shooting in Sydney. You can see these visuals, the gunmen attacking the crowd. The crowd was celebrating the Hanukkah festival, which is of great significance for the Jewish community when these two gunmen decided to target the crowd. Thus, Erin, you spoke about the rise of anti-Semitism and how it went unchecked, and the result of which is in front of everybody. What makes you say so? Were there past incidents as well of anti-Semitism?
Absolutely. You look at Australia after October 7. 2 days after the greatest loss of Jewish life, that heinous terrorist attack launched by Hamas and all the proxies who fund them, we had people celebrating that attack in front of the Opera House, one of our very famous icons here in Australia. We had people gather, celebrate, cheer, sing with happiness. That wasn't so much what terrified me and what set this all into action, because there will be evil everywhere in the world. You cannot eradicate evil, as you know. But when your leaders do not come down strongly and say, this is not who we are as a nation, we do not tolerate this, that is when it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. We didn't see people punished for that. That wasn't hate speech, by the way. That wasn't free speech. They were calling for the death of more Jews, and it went unchecked. And then we had the Harbour Bridge here, hundreds of thousands of people marching, waving terrorist flags. In many Muslim countries, it is illegal to wave the flags of Islamic extremist terrorists. Yet in Australia, they went unchecked, holding up the faces of terrorists who have killed innocent people, chanting death to the Jews. We had synagogues firebombed. We had cars set on fire in Jewish communities. We had Jews in Australia attacked in the street. We had Jewish schools attacked, graffiti, vile slurs. It has gone on and on and on. We had a government who rewarded October 7 by recognising a Palestinian state. You know, it's been decision after decision after decision that has completely failed the Jewish community in Australia. And India knows this better than anyone. When you tolerate moments and moments and moments, and you might not think they're a big deal, it adds up and it ends in what we have seen. And it doesn't just hurt Jewish Australians, by the way. It doesn't just hurt Jewish Australians. There were thousands of people at Bondi last night, thousands of people who are not Jewish. There were Muslims, there were Hindu, there were Christians, there were tourists, there were Australians, there were immigrants. There was a melting pot of diversity there. All of them were under attack. This is not a Jewish problem. These terrorists and these people who want to destroy our way of life will stop at nothing. And if we're not ready to fight back, it's just going to get worse.
Absolutely.